we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's a Lakers snack pack, everyone. Crunch, crunch. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here for the Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Daniel, give me a shout out when you can. Lakers Fast Break at yahoo.com. I've got something I want to ask you an email when you get a chance, please. Also, as well, go ahead and make sure you cover me out at the Inside Sports Fantasy Football. We dropped news on what's going on for week 2 in the NFL. So go ahead and check out our latest show, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Also, as well, Game Source, and of course, what we do at the Pop Culture Cosmos. Also, of course, you know our good friend Joe Soro, aka Ox1947. Hopefully, he'll be on his way. Go ahead and check him out today at LakersBall.com. Plus, you know he owns a great company that you got to go ahead and support, and that is Simblades. Simblades with a Y.com. Our good friends, Laker Tom and Jamie Sweet, they are currently in the planning stages and finalizing a time for tomorrow. So hopefully we will get you a Lakerholic spotlight. Maybe it'll be on Jarred Vanderbilt, cha-ching, and his new extension, so to speak. They may have thoughts on that, plus what's going on with the Lakers as we get closer and closer to training camp. You can go ahead and check out what they're talking about, though, on a regular basis at Lakerholics.com. Jamie Sweet with his 5 things, and of course, the number one Lakers blogger that's out there, Laker Tom. Go ahead and support them today at Lakerholics.com. Our good friend Empire Jeff TV, he's been on the show now several times. Always great to have him here. Please go ahead and check him out today at Empire Jeff TV. Had a great crowd last night. Go ahead and support him. Hopefully we can go ahead and combine our audiences a little bit more so we can go ahead and get that great crossover from both our great channels. Go ahead and subscribe to him at Empire Jeff TV. Also, our good friend John McCallion, he had another good stream earlier this week. He is on the way to losing 130 pounds. He's 70 down, and he's looking to get 60 more down by October 31st. So go ahead and check out his progress, plus some great conversation right there at John McCallion. Also today, go ahead and make sure you check us out each and every time out, because we've got later tonight a team preview of the Houston Rockets. So go ahead and check out what we're doing today with Frank from the Rocket Chop Shop. That's coming up at 7 p.m. Pacific, right here for you at the Lakers Fast Break. And please subscribe today to go ahead and get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Well, the news came very early this morning, and I was kind of surprised that no one in our Lakers Fast Break contingent wanted to get up early in the morning and talk about it, because maybe it just went under the radar for them. But I posted it out there, so if they wanted to go ahead and talk about it, they could. But you know what? We're doing it now, as Jarred Vanderbilt gets a 4-year, $48 million exception as far as his contract extension, so to speak. So he gets a 4-year, $48 million extension on top of his last year on his current contract,
Correct.
which he would have been a free agent after this season. So Lakers needed to hurry up and decide whether they wanted to go ahead and extend his contract, and they looks like they did, with an agreement on a 4-year, $48 million extension. And here today to talk about that, to see if it's something that we should have done, could have done, ended up doing, and if Jarred Vanderbilt will fulfill that 4-year, $48 million extension, although the last year is a player option. Great guys indeed. First man here, first man indeed. It is the man behind his 5 things articles at Lakerholics.com. It is Jamie Sweet. Jamie, I'm hoping you're okay. Glad to see you up and about. Maybe if your next argument with Laker Tom will hit you like a Mack truck, pardon the pun. But your thoughts on Jarred Vanderbilt, aka Laker Tom's Dallas trade target, getting, well, actually, he got the Brinks truck backed up to him, as we say on the show here, and he got a $48 million extension.
Yeah, first off, I want to answer Blue Magic. Camping was great. I feel fine, Gerald. Thank you. I think I was probably one of the luckier people to have ever been in a car accident. So be safe, everyone. Drive intelligently. Just, don't be dumb. Anyway, I'm doing well. And already, yes, I know Tears of Joy. Laker Tom had a ridiculous trade
It's
proposal.
Pong, Joe. Can't you read
Yeah,
P?
I, I,
P. Yes.
I think that I think this is a great deal for both
You
sides.
own a company. Read.
What? I'm sorry. I just saw Joe's comment. Oh, that's a good one, Joe. That's a good one. Anyway, I just wanted to say that I think it's a great deal for both Jarred Vanderbilt and the Lakers. I am a big proponent of Jarred Vanderbilt on the team. And I think this just shows that the Lakers believe in him as much as he seems to have believed in himself. It's a lot of people want to make the argument that he was played off the court by the middle of the Golden State Warriors series, and that was because they ran him around 8,000 screens to get Steph free. And rather than do that to him, they switched to a switch everything offense. Lonnie Walker had a ridiculous fourth quarter in game 3 that saved, or game 4 rather, that saved game 4. And we were able to move on from that series. And then people try to ding him for not stopping Jokic, neglecting that Anthony Davis couldn't stop Jokic. Bam Adebayo couldn't stop Jokic. Nobody was stopping Jokic last year. So that's not a knock on Jarred Vanderbilt. That's a knock on the NBA. That's a knock on anybody not named Nikola Jokic. So and then the other thing people like to knock Jarred Vanderbilt is that he can't shoot threes. And I can think of a bevy of NBA players that have had a tremendous impact on the game and on winning that can't hit threes. But I can name a lot of guys who can hit threes that have not had a tremendous impact on winning and tremendous impact on the NBA. And so you give me a guy like Jarred Vanderbilt on the team every time out, all season long, every game for 20 to 25 minutes, and you're going to get positive results on both ends of the court because he's an underrated passer and playmaker. For a guy his size, he doesn't handle the ball much. He still averages as close to 5 assists a game, which is not, in my opinion, to be overlooked. And I think he's probably going to continue to add to his game. He's only 24, 25, something like that. He's still pretty young. And didn't really get good developmental minutes up until he became a Laker. So, and we saw what he was able to do with his current skill set with a defined role. So if he is able to reprise, even if he's just able to reprise the role that he had last season, which was instrumental in even getting us to the playoffs that everybody then likes to ding him for. Because we don't have Jarred Vanderbilt playing at the level he was playing at last season after the trading deadline. We don't get to the playoffs. It doesn't happen. It does not happen. So, yes, I did mean Jokic. But anyway, I think it's great. And yes, this will make him a more a viable potential trade, including him in a trade going forward. I don't know
Because that 4 years is kind of 2, 3. This is actually a 3 plus 1.
But it's only 12. It's only 12 mil a season. It's not 48 million.
Yeah, that's true. And it's the mid level now. It'll be below mid level by the time that third and fourth year.
This deal is going to look like a $6 million, $8 million deal to salary cap people. So I think it's, including the Lakers. I think it's getting a solid player on a fair contract to both parties. I don't think they're over or underpaying him, and I think it's, this is probably this. I've not been a big fan of the Clutch relationship. This is one of the few times where I feel like it really has worked out in the Lakers' favor in that we got a player that we wanted to be here, and on a pretty fair deal. He's and nobody's going to like this comparison because everybody likes to ding this guy too. But I always loved him as a player, less so as a coach. And he kind of reminds me of a better version of Luke Walton, where does he do anything well? I don't know that he does, but he does a lot of things really good. And he's a team first guy. And those are valuable commodities on a basketball team when you have possession sponges like AD and LeBron. You need guys who don't care about their numbers and just want to see that W in the right column. And that's in my opinion, that's what Jarred Vanderbilt brings to the team. I think that this also will make minutes for Christian Wood potentially advantage, because if the Lakers are invested to this degree in Vando before we've even seen anybody play on the court together, that's already, in my opinion, putting Wood behind the 8 ball a little bit, at least in terms of who's going to be given, penciled in for minutes when camp starts.
Once again, it is, oh my gosh, our chat with Joe, of course, leading the way. Once again, it is the Lakers
Joe's
fast break.
fashion critique tonight. He is on point with his fashion.
Actually, no, but okay, we'll leave it at that. Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. It is, of course, the extension, the 4-year extension, 3+1, I'll say, because it's 3 years plus a player option. We'll see if that's taken up on the last year of his contract, of that contract. $48 million in total value by Jarred Vanderbilt, but also here today, good man indeed. He's the man from Toronto. He did get out of Toronto traffic to go ahead and talk about Jarred Vanderbilt's extension. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice, and Magic Man, great to have you here. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this. While I do not share the kind of enthusiasm Jamie has in regards to him being able to guard Nikola Jokic, doesn't matter how tall he is. He is nowhere near as strong as even Rui Hashimura. So I don't even think that he would last 10 minutes guarding Jokic personally. But Jokic, Vanderbilt can guard a variety.
It was brought up in the chat. I didn't even bring it up.
I think Jamie mentioned it offhandedly in first, so it got picked up on. So, he mentioned it as first. I don't think that would happen, but he can guard, let's say 85% of the players out there in the NBA well enough to the point where can slow you down.
Gerald, let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. How do you think Dikembe Mutombo did guarding Shaq in 2001?
Well, we saw that. We saw how that happened. Yeah.
So, let's be honest here, right? I mean, I'm not comparing Jokic to Shaq, but I'm just saying that's the comparison I would use. This is a great deal for both parties.
I'm glad.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
I don't know.
I don't like that.
I'm not on. Okay.
Gerald, you made that constipation face.
Great.
Because I'm not. It's again. I have even said, and I've even stated, like I mentioned to Darren, earlier, this month, that if he's not starting, I don't know where he fits on the team. I really don't. If he's not starting, because LeBron cannot play threes. So Vanderbilt is versatile enough that he can go play, for anywhere. He can play on defense, anybody, spot up on anybody 1 to 4, with a certain number of fives. Not Jokic, of course, but a certain number of fives. Offensively, it's where the problem lies for me. And although I'm not ready to jettison him out like Tom was at the drop of a hat for Christian Wood, who we got anyways,
right,
which caused a major malfunction in the world of Lakerholics, I am saying that, I am concerned. He is not aggressive at all. He actually gets petrified when he goes to the basket, a la Ben Simmons. And his outside shooting, if he could just be anywhere near 35%, I think that's what I'm looking for. It's what I'm asking for. If he could be at 35%.
How dare you, Gerald? How dare you? I don't think Jarred Vanderbilt would dunk a dunk on Trae Young. How dare you?
No,
how dare you say that? That's blasphemous.
What? That he has been afraid to go to the basket like Ben Simmons?
Maybe he's got butter, chicken grease on his hands. No doubt about that.
You're not helping the cause either when you say that either. Oh my God.
But my goodness.
It's like you're getting on my case. Well, hold on. You're getting on my case because I'm saying he's a very tentative individual going to the basket, and then you come out and say, "Wow, he's got chicken grease on his hands." It's just because he's
Yeah, but you compared him to Ben Simmons.
Well, they're both very
petrified. Insult.
They're both very petrified of going to the basket.
Listen, no, I disagree. Like, Tom tried to come at me with the same line last week, and if you look up his shot chart, if you go and look at his career shot chart. The dude finishes at like 67, 69% in the painted area. That's, and he does he force his own shot? No, but he doesn't shy away from shots. Is he, the most athletic 6'8", 6'10"
Well,
guy
Joe
you've ever
right
seen?
below has already stated that in the first place as well, that he's kind of shy going to the basket. Joe Soros here as well.
I disagree
Lakers
with
ball
those.
back.
I disagree. I mean, listen, he may have started to freeze up a little bit in the
So
playoffs.
Gerald, if things went
know.
the way Tom wanted them to, okay,
Okay.
you would have Christian Wood on a 1-year vet minimum contract. Meanwhile, the Dallas Mavericks would have signed Jarred Vanderbilt to a 4-year,
I didn't say
$48
trade him.
million
Did I
deal.
preface the
I
conversation?
said Tom, not Gerald.
Yeah.
I said Tom.
I said if you don't start Jarred because of what he brings for you defensively, and yes, as Joe mocks me again, if he doesn't bring for you that defensively, where do you put him as far as coming off the bench? Because coming off the bench, him playing defense against second team players, just not as effective. You've got to have him going ahead to see if he can put the clamp down on the first team players that's out there, because that's what he truly brings. As far as you said, he's a jack of all trades and master of none. I disagree with you. He is a very good one-on-one defensive player. Getting through screens is still very difficult for him, as we saw in the playoffs, but playing one-on-one defense is what he can do. But also here today, I want to hear his feedback as well on this extension. Is Joe Soro mocking me as he always does from LakersBall.com?
Grease Soro?
Could be.
He might have chicken grease on his hands for different reasons, though.
No, mine. I got nice moisturizer on my face. So
okay. Well, I thought I'd modeled Sean's goatee there for once. But Joe, you have also been, noted his offensive deficiencies, and I know Kurt Affair says, go ahead and prop him up for his defense. And again, I am propping him up for his defense. I think his defense is better than what Jamie Sweet says. I think it's at elite level when it comes to one-on-one, man-on-man defense. That's not going through screens. That's just playing up on the ball. Point-on-point defense. But when it comes to offense, Joe, you and I share some similar concerns.
Yes, his inability to hit a layup at 6'9", now apparently listed at 6'10", is when you miss layups. I don't think it's a analytical statistic, at least from what I've read, that's calculated. But when Russell Westbrook was doing his thing, every time someone would get all giddy about how he did something amazing, I would automatically see 3 bad plays after that. So I was always wondering how 3 bad plays cancels out 1 good play. Jarred Vanderbilt is not in any way near the negative that Russell Westbrook was as a Laker. But what happens is, if you're making a great defensive play and then let's just say you get the ball under the basket and you miss the layup.
Oh, man.
Well, what usually happens when you miss a layup? The other team scores.
Yeah, the other team goes on transition.
So I bet you if you had some analytical data on that, you could probably start putting a percentage there and making it a stat. Now, in the positive with the signing is maybe the Lakers saw some improvement this summer.
That's what is being hinted upon.
So if that's the case, then we can't come sit here and just what the hell's going on until we actually see what's going on. And I think that's important. I think it's important that we allow the process, not the process of the Philadelphia 76ers, because that process is sewage. We're talking about common sense, positive, negative result process, right? Like, you see something positive? Yes. Good.
Oh,
negative? No. Bad. Easy, right? So I'm my initial reaction to the signing was, I didn't see that coming. What did Vanderbilt do? That was my first reaction. What did Jarred do this summer? It wasn't like, really?
Well, also didn't get us excited because
remember when Schroeder got his contract
Yeah.
Okay, my first reaction, and I've said this to my wife for years, I said, I don't go off what you say when I tell you something that you weren't expecting. I go off your facial reaction the second I tell you. That tells me exactly what you think about it. So in the same realm of this, when Schroeder got his 4-year, $84 million contract, I was like, what? Like, and not in a good way. With Jarred, I'm like, is he hitting his threes in the summer? I know it's practice. I know it's
Still got to go ahead and shoot them in the game.
Still got to, prepare.
Or did he add muscle?
Well, we know he grew. Apparently, he grew an inch. Now, the thing I used to notice with Jarred when he would miss those shots is after he'd miss a shot that he should have had, he had that look of like this. Every time something didn't go right, you could tell he was checked out. That's something that's not good, which is what happened after the Golden State series. He was checked out because he just could not be productive the way he wanted to. So my hope is that come playoff, let's say, because I know the regular season is regular season, I think we'll be fine then. But come playoff time when he's really got to put that thing down and hopefully give us a little bit of a reason. I think that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Can you give us a little bit of a reason, 09? Just a little bit of it. And I think would be good.
I said 35% from the corners. If he could shoot 35
he's not
from the
going to
corners.
shoot 35.
He's not going to shoot 35. He's not going to shoot enough from the 3-point line.
Exactly. No. He has to be
an offensive. Comes into play.
He's got to make those layups. He's got to get that pick and roll, something going on, put backs. He's got to be the energy guy. He's got to be the guy that's, and I say a reason, not from three. I'm talking about his impact.
I agree. I think
Go ahead, Sean.
Gerald, outside of Anthony Davis, who's the best player on the Lakers that boxes out? And if you don't say Jarred Vanderbilt, you're full of it.
Well, again, in the NBA, literally.
Well, that's important. That's kind of important. We were a porous. We're talking about
team. LeBron's boxing out is just.
Yeah, he's just looking up. That's all he can do now.
That's most NBA players these days. It's so frustrating. But yes, Vanderbilt,
even without this gain muscle and this inch, he was still able to box out players that were taller than him.
And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. I'm not in disagreement with you guys. I'm just saying I'm kind of on the fence because of the fact that you're signing him to at least. Well, if you include this year 4 years, because we'll see what he does in the last year of the contract. Okay.
Right.
The thing is, it's a mid-level right now. And it'll be below mid-level by the time the contract ends, as far as value is concerned. It'll be just below mid-level at that point in time. When it comes to what he does on the team, I think you have to start him. I really think you have to start him in order to go ahead and get his maximum usefulness. I know Alan said in the playoffs that he is someone as a specialist you can't play. I disagree because remember the playoffs are all about matchups, and matchups you might need a specialist. And in the series against Memphis and in the series against Golden State for the first half of it, he was extremely effective as a specialist for special spots. So
there's a saying, right, Gerald?
Now they figured him out. Golden State did, and Denver did, and you saw what happened there. But go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, no, Gerald. I was gonna say there's a saying. The best players sometimes don't always show up in the stat sheet, but they always show up on film, and that's him.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
I mean, how many minutes did Jeff Green average in the playoffs for Denver, Gerald? He averaged a little less than 25, and he averaged less than 10 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. He was like 8, 3, and 4, I think, around there. But the minutes he was on there, they trusted him with Jokic out there. They trusted him with Bruce Brown and Jamal Murray. And that's the kind of guy you win titles with.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying again. I'm not.
Look at
with you.
Miami wouldn't have 2 championships right now if it wasn't for Udonis Haslem. He was their third best player in the 06 finals, and he's the reason why they didn't why the Mavs didn't take them to 7 games. He was a monster in that series. And he was also helpful during the first go around. And that's another guy who doesn't show up on the stat sheet. So just because somebody isn't bougie on the box score doesn't mean they're not bougie in film and everybody could see it.
And you know what, Alan is, despite the fact he's been in the chat so far, a lot of negatives towards Jarred Vanderbilt. He sees how much effort he gives in the regular season and in every single game he plays, Jamie Sweet. And I really think that it will see whether or not this is going to be a great deal for the Lakers, or be just an okay deal, or be something that maybe they'll have to get rid of at some point in time. But again, at $12 million a year, it's right now at the mid-level, but will get declining value over time. So that, again, it's not going to kill the Lakers either which way, and it could be something that the Lakers could use in a non-Laker Tom approved trade down the road.
I think every trade is Laker Tom approved. He's addicted to trades, as Magic Man said in the chat, which killed me.
But he is not available for trade this season. It's a 6-month trade hiatus. He cannot be traded for next 6 months. So that essentially wipes him out this season.
It's not about this season, and the only trading piece we really have this season is D'Lo. I think that listen, I think that everybody's brought up good points. I mean, we all saw how Jarred Vanderbilt impacted the team in the regular season. We saw how he was, instrumental in helping, make sure the plucky Memphis Grizzlies didn't have a plucky first round playoff series. Mm-hmm. And let's not forget that he was also helpful in getting us through the play-in game, in one play-in game as opposed to having to play 2, which I thought was great for LeBron and AD. And then his shortcomings are well documented as well. And this is one of the things that I thought Joe made a great point on. You can't ding a guy over the summer for what he did last year when you know that he's a hard worker, when you know he's not one of those guys who takes the summer off and sits around with his thumb up his butt wondering where his paycheck's going to come from. When he's one of those guys that's in the lab putting work in. And we know that outside of his trip to Japan that Vando has been around the team and been around the coaches all summer long for the most part. So I think that in terms of his on-court impact, we're going to have a little bit of a wait and see. We all wondered what this Laker team could have been with the new guys with a full training camp. We're going to get a chance to see that now. You have to imagine that if the Lakers invested in him this much, it came with the blessing of Darvin Ham on some level. And that means that I think you're right. I have him penciled in as the only guy who I see beating Vando out of a starting spot is Hayes. There's no world that I see Christian Wood beating either player out for the starting power forward or 5 spot.
Well, we know how negative you are on Christian Wood.
Listen. I look at him as a volume shooter. I didn't say a volume scorer. He's a volume shooter. He shoots a lot, and you're going to need that on the nights when AD and or LeBron rest. He is going to fill the Thomas Bryant role that Thomas Bryant got annoyed with last season, and we'll see if Christian Wood gets annoyed with that role this season. And that's another. I'm hoping that we get the most mature version that any team has ever gotten of Christian Wood, because that bodes well for him. Most of all, if he can go through a whole season without upsetting the apple cart, without pissing the coaching staff off, and still having an impact on winning in a way that he's never been able to prove that he does, that'll build well that's like Malik Monk level, contract, maybe a little less next season, and not a vet minimum. At the very least, he'll get an MLE from somebody. But if he gets waived or cut because he's a malcontent, you could probably say that Christian Wood is done in the NBA for anything less than the vet minimum for a couple of seasons till he hits 30, 31, and then he'll just be done altogether. And it's going to come down to his defense. If he can play something approaching average defense and still have an impact scoring. But, I have Hachimura ahead of Wood on my depth chart. I have Prince ahead of Wood on my depth chart. I think all those guys are going to see more floor time than Christian Wood is. And the role that I expect to see Wood have is breaking case of glass when one of the big guys sits out. And you want somebody who's just going to shoot. You don't want somebody who's going to think about, oh, should I shoot the ball or not? It's too late. You already blew it. Guys like Christian Wood definitely have a place in the NBA, but he's as much a specialty player as everybody wants to peg Vando as. It's just that it's not on the right side of the court to impact winning. There's plenty of guys, like I said, there's plenty of guys who like to shoot threes that don't have a positive impact on winning, that don't have a positive impact on the team. There are very, very few guys who play hard defense that don't find roles on teams. And that's because it's what we're talking about. The fundamental things that people don't choose to do in professional sports, like box out. We were all making fun of it in the chat, but like, it's true. It's absolutely true. Fundamentals wins games. And we saw Vando's impact with that during the regular season. And like just said, we have to hope that he's added something to his game, whether it's finishing better at the rim, whether it's a mid-range pick and pop that just allows him to score from 15, 20 feet out. And Gerald, maybe it's even a 35% corner 3-point percentage on 1.3 attempts per game. But, you know, whatever that ends up being, whatever that improvement ends up being, I think the real thing here is that I'm excited about personally is that this signals a return to team building and not star chasing. This signals, hey, we believe in this core of guys that got something done, and we're willing to invest in all of them. And maybe that investment pans out and maybe it doesn't. But I would rather see this than a Russell Westbrook trade any day, or like a, you know, I don't think there's a moonbeam chance in a black hole that Giannis is going to get traded for by anything the Lakers have. It's just, there's just too many teams with better trade packages that it won't matter to the Bucks. It'll be like Dame. It'll be like James. He might say, and I think, to be honest, that Giannis would be classier about it, that he wouldn't just say, trade me to one team. He would say, here's like 5 teams that I wouldn't mind going to, and let's just make this amicable and you know, let's move on. I gotta go get some falafel. And that's what I think is the best part about this deal, is that maybe Vando, you know, is, and I do think he starts. I think he starts, and that means AD starts at the 5, which I think is great for AD. And I think it's great for the Lakers. So that's my personal opinion on the deal. I think that the on-court product will obviously have to wait. We just have to hope that, you know, like we've all been saying, that he's bringing a little something extra to the game.
Once again, it is a 4-year extension for Jarred Vanderbilt. We're here at Lakers Fast Break talking about it right now, along with Jamie Sweet from Lakerholics.com, Magic Man Sean Grice, and Joe Soro. Joe, I wanted to ask you this, my friend. When it comes to Jarred, I mean, you share a lot of the same concerns as I said earlier. When it also means that you're also, of course, thinking that he needs to go ahead and play contributing factor now that he's being paid and compensated more for it. What are your thoughts on where Jarred lies in the rotation and how much of a contribution he needs to make?
His most valuable production will be likely as a starter. I'd say it at its highest. I just don't know how yet. I have to see how these guys play at training camp. So let's say he does. Let's say he earns the starting spot. He's supposed to be the guy that guards the 3 and Ds, right? The prime 3 and Ds.
Or could be just like a specialty deal, like he was, remember when he was guarding John Morant.
Right. And then you're going to have to decide on how you're going to want to set up the team. From my perspective, it's likely going to be that he's going to be playing the power forward position. So that means AD is going to start at the 5. So you have AD at the 5, you have Vando at the 4, and then you have Rui at the 3, with Austin at the 2, and LeBron at the 1, with D'Lo coming off the bench.
Really? Wow.
So you won't have any shooting though.
I would think. Yeah. I think they're actually going to start off with D'Lo and then Rui.
If you have that lineup, that's the lineup I think that would work best for him. So.
Oh, maybe during the course of the game that might be plus
Yeah.
minus wise.
Yeah.
But I'd say what they start off with probably would be D'Lo as a starter initially.
And we're gonna have to see how that plays out. I don't know if Vando coming off the bench yet. I don't know how that will work.
That's where I think
is he a microwave type guy? Can he come in and just sustain leads in the second quarter and in the fourth quarters by his stealthy defense and energy plays? Really, ultimately, that's what we need. And then as the year progresses, we would want him to be more of our stopper or defensive specialist, basically.
So,
but this is the NBA in 2023, 2024 doesn't allow you to just be one guy. If that helped 100% of the time, I think the Celtics would have won a championship. But right now with Marcus Smart, you guys saw what happened with the Celtics the last few years. As good as Marcus Smart was on defense, because his inefficiencies on offense were highlighted, they couldn't really get beyond relying on Jalen and Jason to score. If Jalen and Jason couldn't score, the team was toast. And they kept talking about Horford this, Horford that. I'm like, Horford's 400 years old. You can't expect him. This guy's been going downhill for 5 years. So someone finally said, I'm pretty certain after that Clippers renege trade, I can tell someone in Boston said, fine, Marcus has to go. We have to get a third guy here. Otherwise, we're screwed. And a third guy that can score. Vanderbilt can't score according to his current career statistics. He's going to have to at least score the garbage points now instead of missing those points. Shooting threes, if he hits one a game, we're in good shape. If you're expecting him to hit 3 or 4, good luck. It's not going to happen. Could happen, but I don't know. Not likely. So it's I'm still riding the fact that they saw something this summer that warranted this. I don't think it has anything to do with signing him to have even more assets in a trade. I don't know if that makes any sense after this year. If it was this year, it'd be a different story. But this contract doesn't start until next year, so I don't know what that. I mean, I guess maybe they could be looking in the future, but or they could be trying to motivate him,
because it does limit them as far as the possibilities of having a larger contract available to them next year by what they signed Jarred Vanderbilt.
They're what the old adage is. They're putting all their chips in here. They want everyone mentally focused. They overpaid Rui a little bit to get him to, hey, Rui, we believe in you. We're going to pay you a little bit more money. Austin, you went out and you did your tour, and what came back? Well, this is what came back. Okay, we'll give you that. Everybody got taken care of. AD got his extension. Everyone got their money. Okay. Rob and Jeannie sat there and probably said this. All right, guys, we are going to compensate everyone. We're going to make you feel good. We're going to not make you think about things. We're not going to have any drama. Do your thing now that we've taken care of you. I mean, this just adds more to the fact that we've been talking about this summer. It's going to come down to Darvin Ham's rotations and the players executing. We cannot blame Rob and Jeannie anymore. They have done everything to set the table for this team to succeed. The only thing that could be just a bummer is if LeBron or AD have a major injury. At that point, it's just you might as well just call yourself a Jets fan at that point. That's what that would be.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Magic Man Sean Grimes, Joe Soro, and Jamie Sweet. We're talking the 4-year extension that was just signed and agreed upon, or at least it was agreed upon earlier today, as reported on by Shams Charania of The Athletic, to Jarred Vanderbilt. 4-year extension worth up to $48 million, provided he picks up the last year of his contract, because the last year is a player option. And Magic Man, what I want to talk to you is about the minutes per game, because the minutes per game, he's about 24 minutes, what he averaged last year. But in the playoffs, it was less, sometimes considerably less. And if you have an individual that you're now paying at around, let's say the mid-level, let's just call it the mid-level for right about now. Your thoughts on someone that has to go ahead and now contribute at that level. Now, more pressure's on him to contribute. Do you think he can become more than just a specialty player, as what has been mentioned by Alan and by others in the chat room, and being a strong contributor on a playoff bound team?
Well, so those are two distinctly different questions. The last part, of course, yes, he can be. As far as an expanded role, I don't think so, but that's like 90% of guys in the
Because he was
NBA.
down to sometimes at like 10 minutes a
10
game.
minutes
And
a game. Yeah,
yeah,
it's true. We saw it. I mean, Gerald, we were watching all the games together. We watched them on playback. We
I
watched,
saw
yeah,
less and less and
less
less
and
and
less
less.
and less. Yeah, we saw that, especially in the playoffs. I think he's a specialty guy. There's nothing wrong with that. You need specialty cooks in the kitchen. Sometimes you need an orthopedic surgeon on your staff. Like
Well,
it's
because like I
different.
said, the playoffs are about matchups,
Yeah,
and you throw
you're
the
gonna
right
need
matchup out
somebody
there,
like that. Yeah, exactly.
who takes
So
advantage. So when they figure out Vando, you got to have something on the back end. So when they start figuring out Vando, what else are you going to throw at them next that might be different, that might gain you a continual advantage?
yeah, it's I think obviously Gerald with the kind of versatility that Ham has now, you kind of have to sort of look at what he's trying to look to as like a Chinese finger trap. It's like you know, hey,
I almost feel like Dune,
Vando
where he
Van.
puts the hand
Yeah.
in in the box, and you know.
Question for everybody: had we managed to get past Denver, who do you think would have been guarding Jimmy Butler?
Oh, it would have been him. At least where they would have started with him. A
But
sequence.
Yes.
but
Anyway.
this is my point.
They probably would have thrown Rui. They probably would have thrown the kitchen sink at Jimmy Butler.
And as well as they should have. And this is the whole point. The Lakers now have a guy that you can put into that. It's like Sean said. Sometimes you need a great guy for the sauce. Sometimes in the kitchen you also need an orthopedic surgeon, evidently, and that's fine if people's feet are breaking in the earth. Like I think that we're the length of the deal. I think like Joe said, everybody should be coming into camp with a chill mentality, man. Like you don't got to worry about balling out this season to get that next deal. The deal is done. You're good. You're a millionaire many times over. You're gonna have money. If you're smart, you're gonna be able to take care of you and your family for many, many, many years to come, and you'll never have to work a normal job ever again, unless you want to be a TNT broadcaster, and you can string 6 words together in a complete sentence. And after this season, along with guys like, we're all assuming Reeves is going to play great, right? Because of Team USA and his deal. But like,
Not really.
a lot of people are. Maybe not all of us here, but a lot of people are like, well, he's the second coming of whoever. And I'm like, well, let's see how he does with the response. He wasn't the starter to come out the door last season.
Look, he was the 5th Beatle in the Philippines, no question about it. But
He
now
was I don't know. I thought it was Ringo.
yeah, he was like
I thought he was Ringo.
I that haircut was made for that band, by the way.
And listen, the 5th Beatle is Billy Preston, who's a legend. is a legend in his own right. So let's not go.
Fair enough, but like he was, they treated him like he was Elvis over there, Jamie. And
no, I know, and that won't happen here. He'll definitely be the third.
Look, he was a big fish in a small pond over there. Let's be honest.
Agreed. I totally agree.
So now he's back to LA, and hopefully he's back to his normal self, right? Like I want to be a big fish in a small pond.
I want him to be the best fish he can be. Mainly because I love the band Fish. And that got Joe to look up. I think Joe's doing Sudoku right now, too.
Yeah, something.
Is working with that chicken grease. I just think that this is
Hey, Jamie,
really... Yes.
Jaco Pastorius is the greatest bass player that ever lived, and he used chicken grease every time.
I will not disagree with any of the things you just said.
Okay.
I just think it's a really fair deal. I can't really get too into the weeds about what his role will be. I kind of think 25 minutes a game is like right in the wheelhouse for an energy guy, right? Like you don't want a guy, burning out. You don't want, if your energy guy burns out halfway through the season because you're running him into the ground, like Pat Riley did Michael Cooper, then you gotta question the mentality of why you have the guy in the first place. And I think Darvin Ham used him perfectly when he became a Laker, and I kind of just expect that to continue to happen in the in the regular season, and the playoffs. We'll see. It's matchup based anyway. Some guys don't really play. Some guys get an opportunity when they weren't playing, and that's the beauty of the playoffs. But the thing about the playoffs is you're not guaranteed. You got to get there first, and Vando was a key member of getting us there. And so I don't think this is a reward for that. I think this is a reward based on hard work and what they've seen him putting in over the summer. And I think it's a great deal in terms of its fairness. I don't know if it'll end up being a bargain and that, he becomes this magical 20-point per game scorer and averages 10 boards a game. I don't see that happening.
See, here's what I don't understand about this situation.
Mm-hmm.
He made the Lakers defense better, and that was when Anthony Davis was already on the goddamn team.
Yep.
And now Christian Wood, who's god awful at defense, might play with Jarred Vanderbilt, and he will make him better defensively. I don't see why everybody can't see this is kind of like killing two birds with one stone here.
I hope that Wood and Vando get some time together.
They should. I mean, he's proven he can play with a five that could shoot the three, or
just
someone
think if
like
Jarred
Anthony
Vanderbilt
Davis.
and Christian Wood would come together in like a machine, and we could. Just
We
go
all
ahead
wanted,
and produce
we
one
all
player.
wanted to see Thomas Bryant and AD play together, and we never saw it. It never happened. We all
Well,
thought
they were both fives, though, Jamie. Let's be honest, they were both fives.
Nah, Thomas Bryant's an undersized five, oversized four. You could play him at the four or
He's
AD
a five.
at the four.
He's a five.
But you could play AD at the four.
Before the
then. It
knee
doesn't matter.
injury. Before the knee injury.
Thomas Bryant wasn't known as a guy who could play defense anyway.
Or lift,
and when
lift his feet off the ground.
Yeah,
and that ACL injury.
He's a toe
down even
walker.
further.
He's a toe walker. He has no base at all. How are you supposed to be laterally quick or efficient if you can't?
He moves like Frankenstein.
He can't. He can't. Not with this elite. You're talking about basketball players are as athletic as soccer players in terms of being able to stop, go, move, lateral, forward, back. I mean, you're talking about freaks of nature that you don't just find on the street every day. These guys are freakishly athletic, and on top of that, the game has revolved around that athleticism even more and supported it. And you know this because you can't hit anybody anymore. So imagine having someone like, I don't know, Allen Iverson playing right now. He might have averaged 40 points a game.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, to close it out as far as our conversation, again, I just want to go. It looks like Magic Man and Jamie have overwhelmingly decided that it's going to be a great deal. Laker Tom, just discarding the fact that, he cannot be traded for this season. Immediately, his response this morning was fair number for Vando, although the raise could increase his possibility of being traded. It's just like you ignore these simple facts, Tom. We love you, but come on. By the way, he ignored the fact that the time that you requested for tomorrow, so please email him back to correct him on that. It's so funny because you requested 2 times and he decided to go ahead and choose another time of his own.
I think
Tom needs a new name, guys.
What time did he choose?
10 a.m. as opposed to
I'll be on my way to get a haircut. So
yeah, I'll remind him.
And a beard trim.
Yeah, I'll remind him 9 a.m.
I think his new nickname should be Trade Machine.
Or let's do it later. We can do it later. It'll be easier for me later.
Trade Machine Wong.
I'll see if I can ask him to get him in to do that. But
I'll text.
I'm not saying I think the deal's bad. I think
no more Laker Tom.
I'm
Even
just a
if-
trade machine.
Trade Machine Wong is his
Even
new
if
name.
he-
Trade machine.
even if he fizzles out as a starter and he goes to the bench and he plays less and less times, it gets hidden on the bench. It's a deal like we said that it is 3 years essentially with a fourth year player option. I know that what Empire Jeff said, that if you take a look at it, it's basically a 5-year deal if you include this upcoming one for about
Yep.
10.5 million
Yep.
average salary, which again is below mid-level value for a guy that can actually
That's less than 12 million a year.
and it's
Yep.
for a guy that can really he's on the fringe. He's on the fringe of either really becoming a great rotational player for the Lakers and a key to a championship
Well,
run, or
Jarred,
someone who could go the other way. But I'm hopeful that at least you give him a try. That's why I think you need to start him, to see what you got and to see how good it looks, because it looked good in the latter half of last season, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely, Gerald. And I mean, if Vando just if he improves a little bit offensively, you saw what the New York Knicks gave Josh Hart. I mean, if you have some semblance of an offensive game, you get 20 million a year now in the NBA. So
Okay,
I think he's just got to work on what he does best.
Yeah.
Good, better. Tim Duncan always said this after almost every interview he gave on national television when somebody asked him about how he's improving. Good, better, best. My good can be better. My better can always be my best. Always. I think Vanderbilt has that same mentality.
Again, I'm not going to disagree with you one way or the other, but it's just, you understand my hesitation and you understand
100%.
Joe's hesitation when it comes to the offensive side of things. And while it's not Ben Simmons 100%, he does have those hesitations. Joe and I saw this. You guys saw this when, as far as getting to the basket, taking the ball to the basket, those hesitations and fears he has to alleviate to an extent in order to become a viable option on the offensive end. Otherwise, they're just going to shrink the lane even more and make things harder for the rest of the team. And he comes out of the game and you don't get the usefulness from him that you need. He needs to just be adequate. If he could just be adequate on the offensive end, I think that would really help out the Lakers. But Joe, any final thoughts on this, my friend, before we head on out?
I'm ready for the season to start.
Yes.
You and I both. Absolutely.
We're in the true dog days now.
I know we're a show where we're supposed to talk, but at this point, it's like watching.
Paint dry.
No, it's worse.
Fake grass grow.
Yes, that's a good one.
There
It's
you
like
go.
watching fake grass grow.
And you see a lot of fake grass because
See, at least paint dries. You could literally watch paint
That's
dry.
right. It does. That's true. It does do something.
Right.
and
So,
nobody knows fake grass better than Sinblades. Sinblades with the Y.com.
no one knows fake better.
But Sinblades. Sinblades with the Y.com. Magic Man, on that note, what have you got coming up for us in an hour, my friend?
Yeah, we're going to be talking to special guest Frank from the Rockets Chop Shop. Great YouTube channel. So
Really highly populated, and he's been all over. I've seen his work on Bleach Report and other sites.
And on Bleacher Report, he's a hard worker, Jamie, despite your reaction there.
No, I was thinking the Rockets have a whole bunch of issues coming their way once the regular season.
Oh, and we'll be talking about it because I let him know it was on the menu.
I'm not disparaging your guest. I'm foreseeing a season of pain for Fred VanVleet.
And Dylan Brooks.
Well, whatever. That guy brings his pain with him. He's like Captain Kirk. I need my pain. I need it. I need my pain. I can't function without it. He'll be. You know what though? Dylan Brooks will be, and Canada will be able to live on his performance in the FIBA World Cup for the rest of his life. And you know, yeah, he's making a little bit more than Vando.
Jamie. It was a great feat. But the next time he's in the club and we see him, he's still paying for his own drinks.
Oh yeah. No, yeah.
If you got the gold, that would have been something different.
Better be paying for everybody's drinks with that contract he got.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, a lot to look forward to, a lot of questions we want to ask, break down the youth movement, break down the very exorbitant signings, and break down, of course, what happened with, you know what, as far as the latest allegations. And yeah, tell you what, Kevin Porter Jr.'s his career is just no more derailed, and how that's going to affect the Rockets, because the Rockets are rumored now to be trying to ship him out for some draft picks for whatnot. So trying to see if they can get rid of him off their team. So
Yeah,
we'll see what happens there.
Ask Mitch Kupchak how well that works when you got a guy under with
Well,
domestic abuse.
Bridges was on the was an unrestricted free agent. The actually
restricted.
You don't think they
he
tried to
was
trade him?
restricted. You're right.
You don't think
Restricted.
they weren't? You don't think they would have entertained trade proposals for him all year long?
Can I say something about this? This has been gnawing at me, but I've never had I never really went all the way with it. Can the NBA or any of these leagues, can they really put in a legitimate
conduct?
They already have, Joe.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, I mean, a complete forgiveness severance. I don't know how else to what to call it. Like, look, let's say this guy type player A does this to get kicked out. Okay, he's done. He's gone. Like, he's never coming back. And he's making $20 million a year. Okay, part of that contract, it's all been done by the CBA. Everybody's happy. Everybody gets it. Blah blah blah. That $20 million gets removed from the cap. That's it. It's done. Like, you guys are not responsible to pay this person, and you don't have the cap. All these issues, and then we as a fan, media are like, oh, so still, as long as you're still talented, you still have a shot. What do you want them to do? They can't get rid of the like. They have to run a business, and you're not letting them. You're taking care of the problem. You're suspending. You're getting rid of these guys, but you're not taking care of the main issue, because in some writing on the CBA says, well, it's guaranteed money. Look, hey, if you're caught doing what Porter did and Urias did, dude, there is no like, ooh, is he getting scammed? This is like 100%. You should be forgiven for that cap and not be punished for it. And the media and the players, or I should say the fans, should not be all, oh my God, what are you guys doing? Trade. Like, the first reactions I saw were, what? Who the hell is going to trade for Porter? Are you guys stupid? Like, do you not understand what's going on, what they're trying to do? So I think that the leagues, if anything, someone needs to suggest that they need a severance clause in there. You do something heinous like this, and it's 100%. Like, it's not just allegations. And if you settle because you don't want to have whatever, hey, I don't care, whatever it is. Okay, you got yourself in that situation.
Yep.
This thing needs to be taken care of from the team side, and that's it. And you can't, you got to let these guys run a business here. You can't expect these teams to be babysitters. This whole moral ground of, oh, I can't believe they did this. I'm like, what do you want Jerry Jones and the all these guys to do? To be around every guy every minute of the day? No, I'm sorry. We're not doing that. I know if I was an owner, I'm like, look, man, I'm here to run a business, okay? Yeah, some people do make stupid mistakes. What do you want me to do about it? But I got to run a business.
Oh, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, a lot to think about. But before we head on out, one last shot on what Darren, thank you so much for the super chat. With LeBron, AR, and D'Lo starting having a defense with them on the floor, having a defensive-minded player with them might be the right move. Again, that's why I have them on the starting lineup. It's because, we've seen D'Lo, we've seen the fact that LeBron is now 38, closing in on 39. And Austin Reeves on one-on-one setting, team defense, Austin Reeves is very good at what he does. We've seen him hustle. We see him go through screens. And we've seen him go ahead and cut off passing lanes, et cetera, et cetera. But one-on-one defense is an issue for AR and D'Lo, no question about it. LeBron, you really don't want him chasing down threes at all. So Vando has to be the right or has to be the answer, at least to start off with, in my opinion, at the 3. And if he's going to exceed on that contract, it has to be as a starter. I don't think he'll be very good playing off the bench. I just don't. I have to see it to believe it, to see he'll be a consistent player off the bench. So I really would probably have him in the starting lineup just for those reasons. And in a playoff setting, when it comes down to it, one-on-one defense, isolation, you could have those issues. So definitely looking forward to seeing what Vando can do in that. But guys, Jarred Vanderbilt, a whole lot richer. The Lakers backed up the Brinks truck for him and gave him some money today. 4 years, $48 million. Last year is a player option. We'll see what happens. He is not eligible for a trade for 6 months. So just want to go ahead and mention that as well. So Laker Tom, slow up on the trades for Vando as far as that's concerned. But
it's not Laker Tom anymore. It's Trade Machine.
Trade Machine Tom. There you go. Well, he still probably likes.
Well, I like Trade Machine Wong.
You go ahead and tell him that.
It's gonna be it's gonna be too close to Trade Machine wrong.
He doesn't like it when you go. Yeah, he doesn't like the. Yeah, he doesn't like it when you go ahead and mess with his last name. Yeah, I just rather leave it alone.
What's Tom gonna do? Beat me up?
He might try to. He gets crazy. So if we could just be respectful of our fellow panelists.
Men, kids.
Yes, you got everybody.
Don't implicate yourself more criminally than you already have.
Let's just move on out.
That was a joke, folks. I've never hit children. I've never hit old people.
I don't know if I believe that, Joe. I just don't know if I can believe
No.
Come on, Ironside. You want to race?
Long story short, I made an old man cry one time for insulting me. And I've never, ever done anything public loud again since.
Well,
it was his fault. It was his fault. And I yelled back at him, and he started crying. I didn't touch him. He just started crying like a kid. I was like,
let's just keep it at Laker Tom. Let's keep it at Laker Tom.
Yeah.
But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Go ahead and check out Jamie's Suite today at 5 Things. Of course, Laker.
How about Laker Pong?
What?
Because his shirt.
Oh boy!
I'd like to warn this like 5 times, and now he noticed this on the show.
There's a spider in it, but does that also?
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what, though, great having everyone here. Thanks so much, Trade Laker Tom. He's eligible to be traded, so we'll see what happens there. But once again, it's Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you joining us. Thank you, Darren, for the super chat. We'll be back in less than an hour talking the Houston Rockets. We thank you for being part of the best Lakers chat room that's out there and the best Lakers show that's out there right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.
Sing along. It's the same movie but with words for the song.
Hello? Who's there? Can you hear me? Hello?